Let's get twisted. Let's get twisted. Dirty, dirty, noise, bass, electro, dirty, noise.
What's going on, bros and girls? Today I'll be finally starting up my build video log series for Project PureWhite. This is part 1 of the series, and I haven't decided yet, but I'll be doing either 2 or 3 parts to keep the length of each video down. The first video I'll be covering is the installation of the power supply, the motherboard, the RAM, and the CPU. For anyone that is new to my channel, or those who haven't seen my previous PureWhite vids, the main purpose of this build is for budget gaming and a secondary rig, and it will also be an HTPC eventually, and maybe a media server down the road. It's also a less expensive build to play around with / relearn PC building, since I haven't built a PC in forever, so once I upgrade my main rig around the end of the year with high-end parts, I won't fuck up anything expensive. And just as a side note, I'm starting to line up sponsors for the high-end build. I have a few already, but if you're a manufacturer or know of manufacturers that wants their projects featured for this high-end build, just give me a shout, I'm all ears. Back to PureWhite, I'll list all the parts used in the order I install them in the description, and also for current pricing and availability, I'll also include some links for you down below. So as you're seeing on the screen, the first thing we obviously do is open up the case and take both side panels off. Make sure you have adequate lighting. You can't see it, but right now I'm running 3 points of light, not just for the filming's sake, but also so I can see everything I'm doing. Wearing a tank top is optional though. You can wear such things as a t-shirt, a suit and tie, a Tom Hardy Lawless cardigan, or if you're a fit girl, a bra and panties would suffice. The case is a bit Phoenix prodigy. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know more about my reasoning behind choosing all my parts, just watch my previous PureWhite vids, which I'll list in the description and annotations. And for each main component, for more info, I also made some unboxing and overview videos, also below. Back to the build, the next thing I chose to throw in is my Corsair HX650 power supply. It features modular cables which I haven't attached yet because I'll save that for cable management at the end, but you can tell how rusty I am with PC building as I just installed the PSU upside down. Since this is a build video showing my process, I'll admit my mistake and I won't edit it out. Luckily though, the design of the case with the thumb screw attached plates does let you easily flip the PSU. The next thing I'm going to put into my prodigy is my ASUS P8H77i motherboard, but I found that since this is a m-itx case where the mobile won't be facing out towards an open side panel, it is best to install the CPU and RAM onto the motherboard outside of the case. To install my Intel G530 CPU into my motherboard, there's just a latch that you unhook that lifts the cover. Make sure you are very careful with placing the CPU down, as improper installation will bend the pins and turn your CPU into a paperweight. As you see, there is a triangle on one corner of the CPU that I aligned with a triangle symbol on my motherboard. Every mobile is different, but in my case, after you install the CPU, you can take off that black plastic cover. I'll be using the stock heatsink for now because this CPU doesn't require extreme cooling, and since this is a very common cooler used for budget applications, showing this installation should help the most people. This is a very lightweight heatsink, so the good thing about it is you don't have to install a backplate, you just need to align the posts with the 4 holes in the Mobo. Once your posts are aligned, just insert them in carefully for some gentle quadruple penetration, and to lock them into place, make sure the arrows on the top of the screws are facing away from the heatsink. And in case you were wondering, I didn't add any thermal paste, because out of the box the heatsink has it already pre-applied. Once your heatsink feels properly screwed and satisfied, in the afterglow you can now proceed to RAM the motherboard. The RAM I have is the Corsair Vengeance 8GB 1600MHz in cerulean blue, or powder blue as Linus Tech Tips calls it, which matches perfectly with the ASUS motherboard color scheme. My particular mobile has 2 RAM slots, so if you have a similar m-itx or any mobile with just 2 slots, make sure you plan your RAM accordingly as you won't have any additional slots to insert your memory. When installing RAM, you just have to make sure the little notch about 2/5 in is aligned on both the slot and the RAM module. So you have a good 50-50 chance of doing it correctly. Basically, if it doesn't work one way, just throw it in the other way. I install my RAM by pushing down slightly on one end first, then pushing down the side where the locking mechanism is second. In most cases, you'll know the RAM is fully in when the locking mechanism closes in, but sometimes you will have to give the mechanism a slight push to fully lock it. You do the exact same thing for the second RAM module and you're good to go. Once your CPU and RAM is installed, you can now proceed to place the motherboard into the case. Some people like attaching the video card as well before putting it into the case, but the way the Prodigy is designed, the video card sits near the edge of the Mobo, near the side panel, so it'll be really easy to install later. The first thing you want to do is install the rear I/O shield which comes with the motherboard, which is actually really easy to install normally, but because I had the camera and tripod in the way, it took me a ludicrously long time to put in, with my wrist at a redonkulously awkward looking angle. From there, you want to align your motherboard with the standoffs, and in this case they are already built into the Proji. You may have to push it into the rear I/O shield by putting a slight amount of force, but as long as your rear ports are properly aligned with the I/O panel openings, you won't bend or damage anything. As for most computer parts installation, you want to screw it in a diagonal fashion, so like one screw on the back left and then the next screw on the front right, like an X pattern. This ensures good fitment and that nothing will bend or break and you won't trip any screws. So I put in a screw already on the back left and I'm doing the front right now, but even with one screw already in, you may have to still hold the motherboard in place while putting in the next screw. So finally, once all those screws are in, you're now ready to move on to the next components, which, like I said, I'll save for the next video in the series, but before we go, I'll show you how easy it is to flip your power supply if you did the same dumbass mistake that I did. With the Proji, you don't need a screwdriver, you just have to remove these thumb screws, and after pulling it out and putting it back in with the fan facing down, you simply re-screw in the thumb screws. So I hope you guys all enjoyed part 1 of my long-awaited build video log series for Project PureWhite. The next video, I promise, will come much sooner than this one and will cover installation of the video card, SSD, and if I decide to make it a 2-part series rather than 3, the optical drive and final touches like cable management. So if you enjoyed part 1, let me know and thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And follow me on Twitter, it would be much appreciated. Until next time, YouTube, peace!